Hello. Today I'm going to tie for you a Griffith's Gnat variant. Uh, the original was created by George Griffith, probably decades ago now, and it still catches fish. Suppose I could call every fly tie a variant because I never exactly matched the pattern or the technique as the originator. So these were a yard sale find. These are very old Mustad Viking hooks in size 20 and remind me of when I got started when Mustad hooks were popular and came from Norway, and we waited by the mailbox till we got our materials to tie flies. So we're going to use A-dot thread, some Peacock Herl, some fibers from a Spade Hackle for a tail, and one of the smallest hackles on this Grizzly neck. And let's get that tiny hook in the vise and get things started. So I'm going to zoom in a little bit so you can see these things. This is much smaller than it appears. The opposite of what you read in your mirror on your car. Things are larger than they appear in video and in fly tying, and when you're multiplying by like 3 times while filming. This is a little guy. So we got our thread started and worked our way back to the bend. And I blocked your view with my thumb there, but I measured the about 10 or so of those spade hackle fibers for a tail. And we'll get them started. And a la Davy McPhail, I'll throw a wrap underneath to kind of make them spread out. And then go back and forth until I get a nice smooth body. We're going to use a thread body in this case. So we'll trim off the excess. And go back and forth and fill in any low spots. And I've heard folks describe the body of these little midges as just a little black tube, and it's pretty much what I'm shooting for here. So come forward maybe just ahead of like halfway and put in a whip finish or so to let's make that a half hitch with the old 1 finger half hitch here, just to kind of lock things in place. And then here's a little technique that I'm going to show you. What I'm doing here is creating a loop, wrapping back over it, and I'm going to use each leg of that loop to, I don't want to say bulletproof, but to make tying this fly easier and to make the materials, the Peacock Herl and this little Grizzly Hackle, a little stronger. I don't know if it's frustrated you, but when I tie these little flies, I always end up a little heavy-handed, and I'll pull one or the other free or snap off the Peacock Herl, and then we're back to starting all over, and how do I wrap a piece back in without building up thread. So this is what I do to kind of get around some of that. So I've got the hackle and one strand of peacock. The peacock I have tied in by the tip. I broke off of course, the thinnest part of the herl down near the tip. It gets to be brittle or pretty weak, adding to the problem I'm trying to solve with this thread. And let's get that little butt section of the, or tip section, I guess, of the peacock herl snipped out of the way. And here I'm going to come in that loop of thread. I'm going to snip that into 2 pieces. Alright, so the trick here, if I wouldn't have been cheap, I'd have left a longer loop of thread and I could have put it back in the material clip. But I don't know if I was being conservative or careless. So here I've got a piece of thread and the peacock herl in my hackle pliers. You're going to want to use the lightest equipment you have for this stuff, because even with the thread, it's still all brittle. And there's my little Wasatch shepherd's crook. So again, lighter is better. We'll twist that up, and you see the tip end, because of where it is, it kind of flares out and twists up first. Now I left the thread in the back there. I kind of put a couple of whips on it and left it in the back, and the thread is kind of holding these wraps together. Something I think I saw first from Tim Flagler. Kind of dropping names here. I don't mean to, but these guys are, we're all standing on the shoulders of someone else. These guys are good at what they do, and if you see them do something, and you probably want to pick up on it and kind of adopt it, their methods. So Peacock Herl is twisted and wrapped to the front, leaving enough room for the head. And now the thread and the hackle. And again, it's as much about not pulling the hackle out as it is about strengthening the hackle itself. So we'll do the same thing. We'll twist that up. Snip that piece of thread out of the way there. So once that thread and Grizzly hackle. Now this is a size 18 hackle on a size 20 hook, so it's going to stick down a little far. You can go one of two different routes here. I like to do this sometimes, and I'll show you after we get this tied in. But I'll trim the bottom flat when I use the longer hackles. If I use a true like size 18 hackle, sometimes I leave it without trimming the bottom. So we got a couple of wraps to hold the hackle in place. Again, multiplied and on the big screen, it looks like it should be easier, and I look awful shaky here, but we got to get in there and snip out a few fibers that we trapped down. So there I got things centered up again, so I kind of faded away and came back with the fly in the center of the screen, hoping it's a little more visible. And snipped out the last couple of those stray fibers. I don't think any of them are a big problem. We're trying to make a nice fly on camera. And but if it were a fishing fly, I might have just thrown the whip on there and been done with it. So 4, 5, 6, however many turns of whip finish you need to kind of smooth things out and make a head on the fly. And we'll slice off the thread. I see one more fiber there, and I don't think I'm going to let that go. Nope. Cramp it up, and again, you could fish the fly like this. If it was a size 18 hackle, it would be more appropriate. I don't think it matters much. These things just kind of buzz around on the water and look like a group of little midges, but I'm going to clip the bottom flat. And we see one more that's kind of sticking below the horizon there, or above when it's upside down. And there you have it. We'll come in and these tiny flies, just because I put a little drop of Sally Hansen's, and this fly's ready to fish. So I hope this helps you out. I hope you catch a lot of fish with it. Thanks for hanging in there. And if you want to learn more about me, look me up on Amazon. Until next time, be safe.